Now, I'm not telling anybody who's watching this that they should vote Republican because I'm running as a Republican. I'm not telling you that you should vote Republican for any reason in blind faith. But what I'm telling people is, and especially black people, is we have to take a serious look at over the last 60 years what voting Democrat religiously has gotten us, where it has gotten us. Now, the Democrats will try and tell you that it's the Republicans that have stifled all of black people's progress. But I'm here to tell people that from behind the scenes, it is very clear that Democrat political elites have an agenda that has nothing to do with the prosperity of black people.
Absolutely.
The reason I ran Republican is for one reason and one reason alone. I believe in God. But behind the scenes, away from the Black Lives Matter protests, away from CNN and the little things you read down on the little ticker, the headlines on New York Times, the Democrat Party and their platform have become explicitly anti-God. They claim that Christianity is a product of white supremacy because of this country's history. Jesus Christ wasn't white.
Nope.
The people who switched his image to a white man is an example of whitewashing. It's not an indictment of Jesus Christ. It's not an indictment of Christianity, and it's certainly not an indictment of God. But they portray it that way. And you may not understand this now, but I guarantee you after you leave here and you go back and you listen closely to the black folks who stand up at the mic and talk about these Black Lives Matter issues, all of them come with a very common theme. Trade away your American citizenship because America as a nation is dead and they hate black people. And that's something you can sell to black people who are afraid. Black people who are afraid to secure their own freedom. It was never for the government to secure our freedom. It's for us to secure our freedom through two things: a nation of shopkeepers. This is a shop right here, an independent business owner, and the Second Amendment. When you pair an independent business owner with the right to bear arms, you create a safeguard against economic imperialism, which is what the founding fathers were originally rebelling against with the king in England. They didn't like that the king had created an economic imperialist racket over politics, the church as well, and the slave trade. But they won't tell you that Jefferson and 11 of the other initial 13 colonies wanted slavery out of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. But they couldn't do it. You know why? Because back then, to own slaves, if you were in debt to the king, to the throne, you couldn't give up your slaves by law. If you owed the bank money, they would not allow you to give up your slaves. Economic imperialism. And now the same Democrats who fought to keep the right who fought to retain the right to own slaves, the same Democrats who commissioned the KKK, who used Jim Crow, who are openly promoting the continued genocide of black babies in the womb at an all-time alarming rate, are the same people telling you in 10 years you're going to own nothing and you better be happy about it. That's why I'm running Republican. There isn't a single thing in this country that has been more detrimental to black people in this country than for us to give our freedom over to science in pursuit of materialism by killing our own. How can you be Black Lives Matter, but we killed the black future? 30 million black babies have been killed in the womb since 1973. 30 million black babies never got a chance to make a choice to secure their freedom. And they never had a choice to have another child. You know why? Because these white liberal women that all of these Black Lives Matter folks want to follow, they hate humanity. They hate life. They think life is nothing more than suffering. They hate themselves. They openly say it. You go to these pro-abortion rallies, I wish my mother had aborted me. Oh. And it's funny in a sense, but the reality is we've allowed these people to represent us politically. And now I come to you as a black man from the mud, from the city, from the roots, from an honorable cloth. And they'll try and tell you that I'm working for the white folks. The Washington Post said that I'm a far, far right sympathizer with white supremacy. The Washington Post equated me with white supremacy. Now, if I'm a white supremacist, black folks are doomed. My last name is White, but I can assure you, that I am not a white supremacist, and I am here to bring a message to our people in Minneapolis because it's the epicenter of political culture now in America, given what happened with George Floyd and many other police situations. And going forward, what Minneapolis does and says and becomes can be an example to the rest of black communities around the world.